Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to React After Raw. I am your host Alex, and we are here with another edition of our weekly show here. And I am thoroughly disappointed in tonight's Raw. I am back after being gone last week, after my laptop was sabotaged by Nick the Cena fan. But we won't even go there. But anyway, Matt took over and did a great job as a host. So let me introduce the panel. We have, as always, Matt Donato. How's it going, man?
Going on, guys? I'm ready to shoot on this week's Raw. I don't know about you guys. I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah, I think we all are. And the host of The Sharpshoot, Aussie. How are you tonight?
Never been better, man. Never been better. Like Matt said, I got my glasses on here. I look intelligent, unlike the writers of tonight's show.
Definitely. It was. I don't even know if I could put into words how bad it was, but why don't we just jump into that main event? I mean, it started off good. Definitely a lot of good spots here and there. A lot of great false finishes. You had Cena jumping up and down the corner like a 5-year-old girl on Christmas Day, waiting to be tagged in. Tag me in, tag me in. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't thrilled with the match. That finish at the end was definitely kind of a good way to put Cena, make him look strong as they're trying to build him up towards Night of Champions. And just that stare down with Triple H and then putting Rollins on the table was definitely a good way to make that happen. But other than that, it was an okay match. Could have been better for an overall crappy Raw. Matt, your thoughts?
I'm with you on that one. See, my issue with the six-man tag is they do it all the time. When I heard it announced on the opening, I was like, oh, I'm gonna use this as a piss break. It's not a match I'm interested in seeing, especially with the guys they put in there. I love Jericho, and I like Randy Orton, but other than that, I don't want to see any of those other guys in there. So what's this one? I'm gonna watch Jericho, who I know
Yeah,
is
I
not gonna
agree.
win, and Randy Orton, who also
Let me just see
is
a
not
match
gonna win.
here.
I don't know. It's just, yeah, it wasn't a good match. It was, to me, there was a lot of, it was very confusing at times. Um, the only guy really benefiting from that match, obviously, and that's the way I think they booked it, was Cena. He kind of got over there. Roman Reigns, terrible booking for Roman Reigns, because obviously the guy they're trying to use to get him over, it's his hometown, so obviously he's gonna get a huge pop. That was terrible booking. It did nothing for Roman Reigns. This entire Raw did nothing for him. It was pretty much silent every time he came on the screen. Um, there's Kane is just there, I think, to just be there. And Orton, again, there to put guys over. So the only guy who benefits from this is Cena. And I don't know, just lackluster match. I agree with you. The finish was decent. The stare down with Triple H. The attitude adjustment onto the table, onto Rollins and stuff like that. I just don't like. They're starting to build this camaraderie between Cena and Reigns, and with the lack of build, add in the fact that Cena and him are now seeming to be buddy all of a sudden. It's just like they're starting to build a Cena 2.0, and I'm just not liking it.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with you on that point there. Aussie, you got anything to add to what Matt has said?
Yeah. First off, I want to apologize. I'm trying to fix an issue here with my sound. For whatever reason, my microphone sound's not cooperating. Can you guys hear me on the mic? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Okay, so I'm troubleshooting that, trying to get some headphones on so you guys don't hear feedback in here. But yeah, I totally agree. I thought first thing that came to mind when I heard it was going to be a six-man tag match was, man, this is the same shit. Ugh, it's just over and over and over again. I feel like we're being force-fed these six-man tag matches where they clearly always have the good guys versus the bad guys, and we're supposed to, pick sides here. I don't want to do that. Um, right now you're trying to get, I mean, I understand you still have heel and you still have face, but you're trying to get guys like Reigns and Rollins over with the crowd. Don't mix them up and have them lost in the mix with John Cena and Randy Orton and shit like that. Let them have their own singles glory rather than, again, I don't see how anybody really benefits. I understand that Reigns got the fall, but I don't understand how anybody benefits from Cena being basically on the sideline the entire match. That's all the announce team is talking about the entire match.
Yep.
Is when's John Cena going to get in? Cena's not getting in. Blah, blah, blah. Then he finally gets in. He runs roughshod, and, they end up winning the match. And it's just like, I don't really see how anybody, benefits from that. Now, I know that John Cena needs to be built here, and I said that on last week's episode of the Sharpshoot. I understand why he needs wins. I understand why they're going to have him going over. I just don't think they need to mix in guys like Reigns and Rollins in there to help Cena get over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. It was not a good situation to put all those guys in at once, especially all the guys that they are, like you said, trying to put over, and having Cena just standing there on the sidelines doesn't really benefit anybody at all. And we have Kyle Cullihan, the usual one, weighing in all the time throughout the night and on here on the show. He's saying Raw was trash. I don't think any of us will disagree. I don't. It was not. It was not written well. It was not executed well. It was just an all-around bad night for the creative team, for the viewers. I will say maybe the most entertaining thing about that show was the crowd. Other than that, I can't really give the show much credit. But after that main event, we're gonna jump down and hit the opening segment with Chris Jericho's highlight reel. My favorite part of the show, honestly, I like how the Authority comes out instead of just Randy Orton. The banter back and forth between Triple H and Jericho was, genius. Oh, you're wearing a pink tie. Oh, it's Violet, you Nimrod. I mean, it was great.
Oh, I have to say, Alec, did you guys not piss yourself when Jericho says, I didn't know you were bringing the whole law firm down here.
Yeah.
The sellout, the suck up, and the schnoz.
The nose joke.
Oh my God, yep.
Oh man,
I was pissing myself.
Definitely the best part of the show. Oh yeah. Brings you back to the old Chris Jericho promos when he first came to WWE, insulting everybody. I mean, it was just, it's things like that make the show worthwhile. Then you have Triple H proclaiming, oh, well, maybe Cena versus Lesnar is best for business, and you had the whole John Cena reiterating the point of, I'm not going to Night of Champions to beat Brock Lesnar, I'm going to beat Brock Lesnar's ass. Like, we get the point. You're going to Night of Champions to supposedly beat Brock Lesnar's ass. But what does coming out and telling Triple H, I'm going to sue you because I'm going to beat Brock Lesnar's ass, really do for you? I mean, yeah, you have your rematch. I don't understand why Cena had to come out there and even cut a promo. I don't think it added to the segment. It didn't add to their rematch. In all honesty, I think it was just a waste of time. I mean, honestly, what do you think?
I mean, I understand why Cena had to come out and, again, they're trying to build him up there. But the segment was a hell of a lot better before that. I know we all agree on that point. I was really invested in it. I know one of you guys posted on Facebook, or on Twitter, I think it was Matt, saying this segment was gold. And we actually had people, retweeting that, in agreement. And then suddenly it just seemed to go sour very fast. Like that loaf of bread that you keep on the counter, and suddenly, before you look back, there's mold on it. That's how the segment was. I was loving every minute of it, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, where the fuck did that go? And then we're suddenly, 4 tag matches into the show, and I'm ready to take a nap.
I think we all were. Just so many tag matches. Like, why? What is the fucking point? What are we gonna sit through 4 fucking tag matches for? I mean, give us something worthwhile, and then of course, you get the later night, you finally get the tag team champions, and we'll just get to that later. But Matt, your thoughts on the opening segment?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think Aussie just compared John Cena to mold. Um,
Oh
Well,
yeah.
he,
Oh
he
yeah.
kind of is. He's kind
I'm not denying it.
He's kind of like that slow growing mold that you don't know about that's like in the back of your cabinet, and then one day you're cleaning and you finally discover it and you're like, oh, that's what that smell is.
John
Anyway,
Cena's not even mold. John Cena is asbestos.
oh
John
man,
Cena is asbestos.
he slowly kills you. Matt,
Oh
your
man,
thoughts?
I agree with both of you. That opening segment, like I tweeted, was gold. It started off like you were saying with the banter, make fun of the tie, the schnoz comment, which was awesome. And then Cena comes out, and it really felt real until John Cena said, "I'm going to sue you." That ruined the entire segment for me. I'm just like, how can a company go from what they were doing in the Attitude Era, where if Stone Cold came out and did that, he's just gonna stunner you. He's not gonna sue you. It's such a pansy thing to do, and it's just every segment ends with that nowadays. I'm gonna sue you, and it's just like, oh, such a waste of time, and really kind of it it dil- it deludes the moment. It becomes diluted because I'm like, oh, so when Cena was like, if you don't give me my rematch, I'm like, oh shit, here we go. He's gonna do something sick. It's gonna be Cena Triple H. He's gonna fight the Authority. I'm
Nope.
gonna sue you, and I'm like, wow.
Yep,
Wow,
that's like
it
the essential.
ruined
I'm
it.
gonna tell my mommy.
Exactly. And then Roman Reigns comes out to zero pop. Everybody's just like, I don't give a shit. We want Rollins. And then honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, the promo was way, way, way better than last week. But that don't get it twisted. It still absolutely sucked. It wasn't a good promo. It was better than last week, but still nowhere where he needs to be. It just wasn't believable. Like I wasn't feeling like, oh, this guy means what he's saying. It was just kind of like
Oh, neither was I.
he's just reading lines and saying what they want him to say. It wasn't, he's not believable to me right
You know
now.
what I think the
And
problem is there? Not to interrupt, but I don't want to, as you're mentioning that, Matt, because that's a really good point. Um, I think it's the voice that he speaks in at all times. Like it's just not like people don't talk in that voice. Like what if I like every time Alec, threw a topic to me, I was just like, well, I thought that segment was terrible. Believe that.
And it's not even the voice.
Like,
It's the cadence he speaks in. Like nobody takes that many breaths to get 10 words out. Like I am Roman Reigns, and I should be in the title situation.
yeah.
Nobody does that. I mean, even Batista cuts a better fucking promo than Roman Reigns. I mean, Jesus Christ, Reigns, get with the picture. You are from a Samoan pedigree. Your cousin is The Rock. Go, look, you get a free membership to the WWE Network. Go back and watch his promos and learn something, for Christ's sakes. I mean, don't get me wrong. The guy is great in the ring so far, but Jesus, if you can't talk, then please just shut your mouth.
Another point I wanted to throw in there too is, I don't know what the rules are here, and I know Reigns is still a young talent and probably doesn't want to do anything to, get his head cut off. But as he was coming down from the rafters, or not from the rafters, but you guys know what I mean. As he's
Yeah.
making his entrance, did you guys notice the Jake the Snake cutout that was there on the
no,
side?
I didn't. I didn't notice that.
I was probably too busy typing something.
All I have to say is, I feel like somebody like The Rock or a different, like Jericho or even Cena. I hate to, use him as an example. But, Reigns is supposed to be this baby face. He's got to get over. He knows he's got to get over with a crowd that's pro Rollins. Why not stop and pose with that, Jake the Snake cutout or make some kind of gesture. Like it was a full-size Jake the Snake cutout. It was the guy like right on the aisle with him. I would have acknowledged it somehow. I feel like that would have got a cheap pop or
Yep.
something, at least for me. Like, oh God, like he cares about Jake the Snake. I'm with him. You know what I mean? Because that's what I was saying
Yeah.
on the sharpshoot is like, there's nothing that I can relate to with this guy. There's nothing that
Definitely.
makes me say like, yeah, that's my guy right there. Something small like that would have edged me a little bit closer, towards his side. I don't know if that's just me or what.
No, I definitely agree
I,
with the point you're making there. I mean, when you have these people that you're trying to build as characters and you're building Reigns as this larger than life entity, it's hard to relate to somebody like that. Sure, you want to be like that, but when it all comes down to it, you want to be able to relate to that person. And relating to that person sells merchandise. And then that's why Cena is the way he is and why he moves merchandise the way he does.
Absolutely. I think another issue that I have is he tends to fluctuate between two different characters. He's either the tough guy Roman Reigns, or he's a suave lady killer type guy, and it's like, you gotta pick one, dude, because you're just getting confusing. Which one do you want?
Yeah, you want Randy Orton or Hulk Hogan? Pick one, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh man, we got some rope breakers weighing in over here on YouTube. We have Ryan Brill, otherwise known as Delta Ju, saying thanks again for the DVD. And yeah, Raw was pretty bad. For those of you who don't know, during our SummerSlam giveaway, we gave away, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, the DVD, and Ryan Brill was the lucky rope breaker who won that. You could have won that. It could have been you, but it wasn't. Maybe next time. Who knows? We have Andy Penna weighing in saying, LOL, John Cena at the end, tag me in. Ryan weighing in again. None really supported any feuds towards the tag team title except obviously Rhodes versus the Usos. And then Andy Penna weighing in again. He took a random sign and held it backward and said, tag me in. And then Ryan weighing in about The Rock. The Rock was seriously gold cutting promos, especially his backstage ones. And Ryan weighing in again. He should have high-fived with this sign. All great points from the rope breakers there. And after that opening segment, we had Sheamus versus Ziggler, or Sheamus and Ziggler versus Cesaro and The Miz with Damian Sandow and the makeup chair, I should say. I like the idea of The Miz having a stunt double. It really adds to that heel persona that he's trying to convey as this cheap Hollywood gimmick. I really like that. And I know I made a point on our Facebook and to Matt that I think it would be hilarious if Sandow shaved that beard, dyed his hair the same as The Miz, and really went for the full stunt double effect. I think it would really be great. I mean, if you think about it, if they're really trying to go for that, stunt double gimmick, it keeps Sandow on TV, keeps him relevant, and it's just something to laugh at, and it could be a hilarious tag team. The crowd was very strongly in favor of Ziggler during that match, and it was overall entertaining to watch, especially when Miz would take a break in the makeup chair and get his makeup redone, and then towards the end you had Sandow jump in and interfere in that match and really throw a curve and things. It was definitely something okay to watch, but it doesn't really add to the quality of that Raw. Aussie, you got anything to add?
I just have an interesting tweet that I want to mention. The guys over at WWE Creative Humor. I don't know if you follow them or not on Twitter. You got to, and we don't usually co-sign, a lot of people, but you definitely have to check them out. Here's what they had to say about the whole stunt double situation, which had me, pretty damn near about to piss my pants. They said, if Damien Sandow gets to be Mike the Miz, if Damien Sandow gets to be the Miz's stunt double with the misses, then maybe this isn't such a bad gig.
Oh.
They definitely put out some quality stuff.
Yeah, just like the entire show, I'm pissing my pants.
Yeah, they're good.
as far as the whole stunt double thing goes, I really like it as well. Question is, do they stick with it? Because for a while there, they had Sandow in some pretty funny gimmicks. The Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels gimmicks come to mind. Those are pretty hilarious. But then, those caught on with the crowd, and then suddenly the next week Lance Stevenson and just, stupid, pointless shit. So the question for me is, does he remain the stunt double? I think it'd be hilarious, to be quite honest, and it could set up a Miz and Sandow feud somewhere down the road. That could be, interesting and maybe a way for Sandow to get back into the light. Although I think he's buried pretty deep right now from being a Money in the Bank contract holder a year ago. Now, the Miz's stunt double from a chance at the World Heavyweight Championship to the Miz's stunt double. I think Alex Riley had a better upgrade going from the Miz's stunt double to the pre-show broadcaster. And that's sad to say. But I bet Alex Riley thinks he has the better spot right now.
I would think so.
But I like the segment, and I'm pretty sure you guys are both in agreement, right?
Definitely. Matt, your thoughts?
I'm definitely in agreement with that. I can't even explain to you how much I loved the makeup table or the makeup chair. I thought that, to me, that is freaking brilliant. It gets him over even more as being this arrogant asshole. Like, in the middle of a match, he's gonna roll out after tagging in his guy, and he's gonna go and get makeup done. I thought that was perfect. I loved it. And I don't know about you guys, but I was damn near pissing myself when Damien Sandow runs to the ring, goes, "Action!" and then runs into the ring. I thought that was hilarious.
That's actually what Ryan Barilla, sorry, I'm gonna say it like the pasta. He said the same thing, Matt. He said that when Sandow ran in there and said action, he lost it.
I'm right there with you, Ryan. I was dying. That was hilarious. That was a perfect ending to that. And the finish was great. I did mention this on Twitter, and it pissed me off. Sheamus is going for what do we got?
No, I was laughing at what you said. Just continue.
Oh, okay. I was like, we got something on Twitter. All right. No. The part where Sheamus was about to jump in with a shoulder tackle over the top rope, and Cesaro looked to be countering it with an uppercut, and the fucking cameramen were nowhere near. They were like off in space.
Yeah.
They were taping the slobs in the crowd. It's like, who gives it? Like, are you kidding me?
Well, yeah, when you got Ric Flair running the cameras, what do you expect?
Well, it's worth noting that that's actually not a camera issue. That was a producer issue. They switched off cameras for a second there. They went to a different shot, and then they come back and they got the back half of it. But at that point, it was the uppercut was already over, and you're like, what the fuck just happened?
Yep.
But I'm interested to know who the producer on that match was, because the producers are guys like Jamie Noble, Billy Kidman, Road Dogg. All those guys are in the back, and all they do is they stand there and they say, which camera? I want camera 2. I want camera 1. So they're basically looking at all the different camera shots on a big screen and choosing which ones they want to be shown on TV at a certain time. So somebody called for a camera switch there, and then they fucked up and they missed the whole uppercut thing. So it had to be Jamie Noble.
Oh man, yeah, that was definitely a.
Well,
what you got something to say?
I was just gonna add that does make sense, seeing that it was a Sheamus match, and Sheamus did take Jamie Noble out, so he's like, fuck Sheamus, turn the camera away from him.
Well, I mean, that's what we're gonna go with, and hey, fine by me. And jumping into the next part, we had our first growing up Bella segment.
Ugh.
What the fuck was? Here we have Nikki on the fucking screen. Oh, Nikki, Bree stole my prom date. And they were in the parking lot, in the car. Well, what? But I haven't told anybody. What is the point then? So you're gonna go on national television, and now you're finally gonna reveal these deep, dark family secrets that you've been hiding for the past 15 fucking years. Well, thank you for waiting so long to tell everybody and wasting our goddamn time. I mean, honestly, all those segments were fucking awful. And I know Matt posted on our Facebook that at WrestleMania 31 there'll be a lunchroom brawl, and the winner gets the prom date, and it's just and what I believe I posted that also there'll be a second match, and the loser of that match gets to pay for the damages of the car and the gas money because Brie always took the car because she was so bad. Oh wait, Nikki never told anybody. I it was just a waste of time, and then that first one segued into that awful, awful Divas match. And I know we all pointed out how brutal it was to watch Rosa Mendes in the ring.
Oof.
I can't even put into words how awful it was, except maybe what the fuck did I just watch? So, Matt, your thoughts?
Oh man. See, this is my problem. I don't think this is. First of all, I don't think that the Bells have the talent right now on the mic for this to be a main storyline. I think there are more pressing ones, such as Paige, AJ. I think that needs to be in the forefront. I don't think that they have the ability right now to really carry this, and that's why people are getting so bored. If this was a match that was more of a mid card and got a little bit of attention, but not like every other match, we're going to throw one of these shitty segments in there, and then we're going to devote a whole 5-minute segment with these two and pretty much overshadow the Divas champion. I just don't think this is a storyline. It's a storyline that should be in the main event, but they're not talented right now enough on the mic to really warrant, that much TV time. Yeah, the segments were just brutal. The acting is just shit. I don't mind them getting a push because I think they're really, really coming into their own as far as their in-ring goes, but they're just not up to par when it comes to their acting, and these segments just really, really show that. And I think it was Paul Heyman who really said that when you're trying to get somebody over, really put the spotlight on the positives and really try to overshadow the negatives. So really, really go out there and put the spotlight on these girls wrestling and stop focusing so much on their mic skills because it's not really there yet. Let them develop. Like you said, a waste of time. They devoted pretty much this entire Raw to showing those segments, and it really, to me, hurt the Paige and AJ storyline because it makes me feel right now that they're looking at this one more, that it's more important, and I don't necessarily think that at all. It's just a waste of time. The segments are fucking stupid. I don't really think that I can top what Alex said. He pretty much summed it up pretty damn well. But yeah, and what Alex said, I completely agree with. What the fuck? That's pretty much sums everything up. What the fuck?
Aussie, your thoughts?
Oh man, I was stewing over this all night, to be honest with you. Just completely. The problem is, it was just done incorrectly. Just so many flaws to the segments. It was a complete head scratcher. Now, these writers and these producers and everybody that's involved, these people are supposed to be the top of the line. This is WWE. The programming's been going on for so many years. You can't fuck the little things up. And I noted on the Facebook page and on the Twitter something very small. Might seem very small to some. It was very big to me. When they were showing the pictures of their first car, the car in the first photo had different rims than the second car that was crashed. And then the car that was crashed had different rims than the last photo. So they had 3 different cars. So essentially what they told me is, I just fucking searched these photos of a Civic from 2000 fucking 10 minutes before the show and threw them in there. That shows me that you're not trying hard enough. That was an insult to my intelligence, and I'm sure to many other people, because we're not that fucking stupid, to be honest with you.
No.
Not all of us are 5-year-old fans. I look for little shit like that. Little things like that are what makes it feel real. They fumbled it. They fucked it up hardcore. Now, to piggyback off that, a couple other things that made it feel not real at all. The music playing behind Nikki Bella giving these shocking confessions. This isn't the fucking Bold and Beautiful. Yeah, it's probably a soap opera for men, but I don't need to hear any fucking Ludwig von Beethoven in the fucking background. It was just terrible. It just didn't feel real. Like, who the fuck sits down with fucking Beethoven or whoever the fuck playing behind him and just says this shit into a camera? The more appropriate way to do this would have been one of those cheesy as fuck Michael Cole sit-down interviews where he says, you know, or Nikki, tell us about how Brie. But I mean, that sounds like a pretty shitty alternative, but at the same time, it would have been about 500 times better than what we got. Why not have Tom Phillips or incorporate Byron Paxton, one of those guys you're trying to get over? Why not incorporate them? Have a sit-down interview. None of this bullshit where it's just a black screen. Like, who the fuck does that? Who just decides, you know what, this shit's been just sitting here for 15 years. Somebody get me a black screen and some Beethoven, and I'm just going to let it all out.
Yeah.
Absolutely stupid. And I have to note on the side, I'm seeing Andy Pena over here making a comment that we're all virgins. Well, hell, son, I got some news for you, boy. Hey, Becky. Come here.
Listen, Andy. We're trying to keep it PG here.
Can you come here, please?
I'm just kidding. But I mean, say what you want. That's fine. Hey, speak for yourself. All right.
Jabroni must think because I have a sick action figure collection that I'm a virgin. Wrong.
Oh man. And the belt has made an appearance on React After Raw.
Andy, I got your girl. Go make me a sandwich.
Oh man.
You were saying, Andy?
Probably like 10 years old.
Oh,
Anyways,
yeah, we got a lot of those here on React. We got a lot of those 10-year-olds.
12-year-old sitting at home right now twiddling the people's pipe cleaner.
Now, speaking of the people's pipe cleaner and all that jazz, Joseph Warren, who appears to be a new viewer on the show, saying he wants a Steph and AJ match, and then he follows it up by getting a little bit weird, saying, "That's my wet dream." Really, Joe?
Really?
Tell us how you really feel.
Is there a block button for that stuff? I mean, come on. Come on. I mean, why?
TMI. TMI.
Seriously though, how about I know you said, Alec, that Total Divas match was ass, and then Matt pointed out that he thought they were kind of focusing a little too much on the Bella segment more so than the Paige and AJ feud. Looks to me that it's going to be a fatal 4-way at Night of Champions. What's it? You think so?
Definitely. I mean, it looks like that's what they're aiming for, because what they announced Friday, it's going to be Paige versus Brie Bella, which I don't see the point of, but because now that they've intertwined them in a storyline together, that I guess it has to happen. But I mean, a fatal 4-way for the Divas Championship is a good idea, but just not with the current Divas that are in the match. Sure, you have Paige, who's already a strong heel. You have AJ, who's, favorable with the crowd, even though she's getting the ridiculous CM Punk chants. then you have Nikki in there, who's kind of, I don't know what to describe her. I mean, in the reality era, I don't know. And then you have Brie, who's just kind of floating in there, and she's just in there because she's just trying to keep things relevant. I mean, sure, a fatal four-way match is good, but like I said, just with the current divas in that situation, it's not as entertaining as it should be. If it were two other divas like Natalia and Naomi, then it's a different story. Then it's definitely something worth watching. But because you have Nikki and Brie Bella in there, just for the sake of their storyline, I don't think it's just not as entertaining as it should be.
I think,
You
though.
know,
Go ahead, Matt.
no, continue what you were saying. And
I
we'll
was
catch
just going
up
to
on
quickly
Matt.
point out, I think, though, one way of looking at it is that Paige and AJ can add a lot to the Bella's feud. We've seen in the past, and I always will always go back to this, and you guys have heard me talk about this an infinite amount of times. One of my favorite angles of all time, no pun intended, Kurt Angle, Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, love triangle angle. You then throw The Rock in there, and he adds legitimacy in the ring. Not that Angle and Triple H weren't legit in the ring, but making that a triple threat feud allowed for a really good storytelling match because you've got these
Definitely.
two guys going at each other's necks over Stephanie, and then you have The Rock in there to remind you that, hey, this is for the belt too. Um, I think that if they do this the right way, we'll see a lot of good wrestling because you've got Paige and AJ, who are definitely the best two wrestlers on the Divas roster right now, and then Nikki and Brie, not so bad themselves, but now you've got those two with their own personal issues, and then you're also reminded that this is for the belt. So it could be interesting to see if they give them enough time in this
Yeah.
match. That's going to be the issue here. If they give them enough time to tell the story, I think they can tell a good story. Is Nikki really concerned with Brie at all, or is she doing this all for the title? Is Brie concerned about the title at all, or is she just going to try to whip Nikki's ass? That's something that they could go at. Question is, do they even know that? Do they even know like that? That's a possibility, or are they just like, we don't want two Divas matches, throw it all into one?
Yeah, definitely. Ryan Brillo weighing in over here on YouTube. That match is what you would call a clusterfuck. Uh, I would have to agree. Joseph Warren saying, I say bring back the women's title, make the Divas division almost matter like when Lita and Trish were wrestling. We've talked about that before plenty of times, and we definitely agree. It definitely needs to matter again. Ryan weighing in, they can't fix the Bellas' lousy wrestling skills compared to AJ and Paige. Gonna have to agree there again. I mean, Brie has some talent, so does Nikki, but not the greatest.
Yeah, what I have to just quickly point out, though, and I agree with what Aussie was saying, I just feel like this in a sense kind of takes away from the Paige AJ feud, because it kind of directs the attention towards, like you said, it's going to be interesting because of Brie and Nikki. We're going to be wondering, are they going to work together, or are they going to, are they more worried about each other? So that directs attention completely towards them, taking away from what they were trying to build, which was, in my opinion, 100 times more interesting than whatever they're doing with the Bellas. And it takes away from that because now we're wondering what the Bellas are going to do. And I'm wondering if after that people are just going to lose interest if they try to pick that frenemy storyline back up again. To me right now it's just confusing. And I think clusterfuck is actually the right word for that. It was just, I was kind of confused. I was, the segment I thought was Stephanie McMahon being in there. I was like, okay, Stephanie McMahon's in there. She can kind of handle things. This is okay. It'll be better than last week. It wasn't as bad as last week, but still not great. And then luckily AJ interrupts and the Pages interrupts, but they didn't. I just didn't feel like they had a necessary place there other than the title. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just feel like it could be interesting, but I it's not a match that I think should happen. I honestly feel like this match is only happening because they're trying to make room they don't want 3 Divas matches on there, so they're going to put these 2 together, and then they're going to have one for Total Divas because they're really worried about pushing that fucking show. I literally think that's what's happening.
Oh,
Solely
man.
so they can have fucking Rosa Mendez go in there and be garbage the entire match.
After tonight, though, I can only hope that they change their philosophy on putting that Total Divas match in the pay-per-view. That doesn't even belong anywhere near the pre-show. Matter of fact, that doesn't belong anywhere near the building or the state or the country for that matter. That was absolutely brutal. I was clenching my toes watching Rosa Mendez completely fail at selling. It was terrible.
It was one of the worst things I've ever seen in all my years of watching wrestling. In all our years of watching wrestling, we've seen some pretty bad shit, and that was bad. And that kind of leads into the Big Show Mark Henry match versus the Wyatts. I don't know. It was one of those things that I pointed out to Matt that it was cool the first time it happened, and I think that was last week's Raw, or maybe 2 weeks ago. I don't remember when, but it was cool when it first happened. You know, Big Show looked great in the ring. Mark Henry looked great in the ring. Definitely great competition between the two teams. And it was entertaining the first time around. The second time around, the crowd was dead, and the match just seemed to drag on and on and on. And I'm sitting there like, when is this going to end? And then Rusev comes out to confront Mark Henry to really end that match and kind of push their feud a little more, but it really didn't do anything for me. I don't know. I just wasn't a great match, wasn't a great ending. I don't really know how else to describe it. Anybody want to weigh in on that?
I can take this one. Oh.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sit down, Jabroni. Let me take this one. No, seriously. To me, this is confusing, and I said this last week on React. All right, I get it.
This fucking belt.
The people's chump over there.
The belt's about to be fired.
Yeah, the people's chump. I feel like it was just confusing. I don't understand. Are they going to have a tag team with Big Show and Mark Henry? Or is Mark Henry going to feud with Rusev? And I said this last week on React. I was confused last week because the week prior, you know, he confronts Rusev. Then the following week, or the first week he has a tag team. Next week he confronts Rusev. This week he has a tag team again, and I'm like, okay, so apparently they're sticking with the tag team. And then Rusev comes out again. I'm like, wait, what the fuck are they doing? I'm so confused. Which one do you want? Stop being so goddamn indecisive and just pick a match. Pick one. And please, I was excited. I like the finish because I'm interested in seeing a Rusev Big Show match with Big Show or Rusev Mark. See how confused it's got me. I'm excited to see a Rusev Mark Henry match with Mark Henry putting over Rusev, but it just didn't make any sense. I didn't think the match was all that bad. I thought the first 2 matches that they did, or the first one that they had as a tag team, sucked. I didn't think it was that good. I thought this match was a little bit better, a little bit more entertaining. But like I said, I liked the finish of it. But still, I'm just left saying, what the fuck? That's kind of the saying for the entire Raw. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's the tagline for this episode of Raw. Aussie, looks like you got something to say over there, so I'll let you weigh in.
Yeah, I was just, in agreement with Matt. Back and forth. I think they finally closed, the whole thought of the tag team when they had that backstage segment with Big Show and Mark Henry, and Henry was like, I gotta do this, and then Big Show was like, totally unbelievable character, like, going up to the home pain. It's just like, fucking settle down. Again, like I said earlier, people don't do that.
No.
It just didn't feel real at all, like the whole Big Show exchange. But I have to disagree with Matt here, in the fact that Rusev and Henry being interesting. I don't find it interesting at all. And this goes back to an age-old, debate between Matt and myself. He is a Mark Henry fan, of sorts, and I'm not at all. I don't think there's really anything interesting about Mark Henry at all, rather than the fact that his singlet is really, really, really doesn't do anything good for him. Let's just say that guy's got a classic muffin top. Anyways, I think that Rusev would be better suited against a small guy. And I know Rey Mysterio is not really, on working terms with the company right now, but I hate the whole notion of big guy versus big guy. Like, it always has to be that way. And let's be honest, those matches suck every single time.
Definitely.
Because it's just two guys that can't move around. And I will say Rusev is, definitely good on his feet. He can move around. He's pretty athletic for a big guy. But that match is just not going to go anywhere. It's just not going to be interesting. It's probably going to not get enough time, and Rusev's going to win. And then, it's just not... I don't believe it. It's like the whole Mark Henry versus John Cena storyline. Like, we know Mark Henry's not winning. Like, there's no way. If Mark Henry wins, holy shit. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'd do. That would make no sense at all. But
Yeah,
I could see it happening, but I just think there's got to be a bigger fish to fry than Mark Henry for Rusev. I think Big Show and Mark Henry would have been a good tag team. They could have brought some legitimacy to that very, very, very weak tag division right now. And then you could have had Rusev face somebody else. There's got to be somebody else. Can you guys think of anybody that comes to mind that could feud with him?
Not really anybody believable. I mean, fucking Zack Ryder. No, I'm just kidding. That's just nobody that's believable. But just to interject really quickly, I just see, for me, I'm not looking. I don't think the match itself is going to be interesting. I agree with you on that. I don't think the match is going to be good at all. But I'm more interested. To me, it's more of a. I actually would rather see Rusev versus Henry on Monday Night Raw. I think that'd be more beneficial. Just to kind of get it. I don't think it's pay-per-view worthy, but I think as far as the build goes, I think it goes the same as Cena beating Harper last week, or Rowan, I forget which one, whatever one he beat last week. We knew that the Wyatts weren't going to beat Cena, but it kind of was that step to kind of put him over a little bit more. And what I see happening right now is I think they're still sticking with the Rusev Swagger feud. I think it's putting on the back burners right now because people are getting bored with it. So they're doing their own thing. And I think they're trying to build Swagger up a little bit, because when Swagger first came into this feud, he just pretty much came off of a loss from Adam fucking Rose. So it's not really believable that this guy's now going to be Adam Rose beats this guy. He's going to fucking beat Rusev. Yeah, that's believable. So I think now they're taking the step back. They're building up Swagger a little bit, and they're building up Rusev a little bit more to be even more unstoppable. And I think that the next time, I think what's going to happen is Rusev is going to capture the U.S. title, and then Swagger will step in again, and this time actually beat him, going over and taking the U.S. championship from him. I think not that that's going to be good, but I think that that's what they're going for.
I've got bigger plans for Swagger. How about this? And this is just something a little dream scenario that I've been, spinning up in my head. He really disappointed us Americans. We were all disappointed with him, blah, blah, blah. Zeb Coulter finally comes back. What if he disappoints us again? And Zeb Coulter's got somebody new. Can you think of any Americans that might be coming to WWE that would be able to feud? Tell me fucking Kurt Angle. Tell me that Zeb Coulter turning on Jack Swagger and, for a couple weeks on Raw saying he's got a new American that's going to defend the country the right way, blah, blah, blah. And then, Finally, 2 weeks later on Raw, fucking Kurt Angle returns, shocks everybody,
Oh
beats
my
the shit out of dude.
I,
They're
I
this
think we're all waiting for that moment, though.
fucking. He shows him the real ankle lock, snaps his fucking ankle, and Swagger retires.
Definitely.
And then
He got,
Swagger becomes Adam Rose's new bunny rabbit.
yeah. Fuck that bunny. All right, fuck that bunny.
And
I
then,
hate the bunny. I hate the bunny.
and I hate the bunny too. But then, quickly to add off my dream scenario there, and Joseph Warren reminded me of it. You have Kurt Angle return. You have him beat Swagger. He's got Zeb Coulter. He's the real American, the Olympic hero. And then he feuds with Rusev, and Rusev whips his ass. That's how you build Rusev right there.
Definitely, I definitely agree.
Yeah, you want to stop fucking around and giving Rusev meaningless wins that are basically the Vladimir Kozlov Yellow Brick Road to becoming a comedy gimmick in 2 years. Have him beat somebody like Kurt Angle, who comes back, establishes himself with victories over Jack Swagger, and then Rusev ousts him. That's when people would be like, whoa, this guy's here to play.
Definitely, I definitely agree with you there on that. Got some more rope breakers weighing in over here on YouTube. Ryan Barilla, I'm actually really excited to have Batista come back. I think we are too, especially after having that huge, successful run with Guardians of the Galaxy. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It's great. Batista gained tons of popularity with that movie. Joseph Warren saying, Henry running to the ring, so much sweat. Joseph Warren weighing in again, hashtag Ryder 1 minute of fame. Ryan Brill, I hate how they are using Titus. If they actually used him right, he could have been a good opponent versus Rusev. I think we
totally
can all
agree.
be in agreement. Titus is a great talent, definitely misused.
Could have been a heavyweight champion.
Yep, definitely agree. But hey, that's the way things work with the backstage politics in the WWE. And another thing that really kind of popped up on Raw was that they invited Michael Sam to Raw next week. Definitely something that's interesting. WWE cashing in on that because for those of you who don't know, Michael Sam is the first openly gay NFL player, and he was cut by the Rams on Saturday. Big controversy over that. People saying was it because he's gay or because of his talent. Jeff Fisher saying it was a football decision. Weigh in how you will. It's definitely interesting that WWE is doing that, especially on a Monday night because football is returning on Thursday, and there are those 2 games lined up for Monday night. So it's kind of a way to sway viewers away from those games, whether it's during halftime or whatever, and say, oh, hey, Michael Sam's going to be on Raw. Let's see what he has to say. So definitely a good marketing strategy. Some people on our Facebook saying that they don't like it. Nathaniel Accord being really vocal about it. What about the rest of the guys that got cut and not signed to a practice squad? Sam's is not special and certainly doesn't need a microphone and a stage to stand on. Definitely a good point, but I think WWE's doing it not only for the publicity of saying, hey, we've got, Michael Sam's first comment about being cut and, we're going to outshine Monday Night Football even if it's only for 5 minutes, but it's definitely another way for WWE to say, hey, everything's equal here. We have an openly gay, wrestler on our roster, and we support those types of people. So definitely an interesting thing that WWE is trying to do. I mean, Matt, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I just want to point out that he's the first openly gay football player because Tom Brady has not come out yet.
Yeah, he did. He was on an Uggs commercial.
Fans.
He was on an Uggs commercial. Isn't that the same thing?
Right. that is definitely. Oh, suck it, Patriots fans. No, seriously, I'm gonna get some keyboard warriors that's gonna hate on me. And, you fucking suck. Glass.
There's one sleeping upstairs right now.
Yeah, he can go ahead and suck it too. But no, I mean, this is definitely 100%. I hear what you're saying about them saying we're equal opportunity, but knowing how WWE runs and knowing in my personal opinion, obviously I don't know this for sure, but this sounds like a Vince McMahon decision. Like he's like, this will get us damn good publicity.
Well, that's exactly what it is. Vince McMahon saying, hey,
that's
let's reach out to Michael Sam so we can try and sway the viewers away from Monday Night Football.
Right, and you can't be mad with that.
No.
No. From a business standpoint, it's a great concept. I have a feeling like Vince didn't even know his name. He's like, get that gay guy from football. Oh my god. And they're like,
see if he wants to play in the XFL.
We'll sign him to a developmental deal. And him and Darren Young.
Bring him into OVW. And you're like, wait a minute, Vince, the fuck are you talking about? He's so out of touch. Oh man, yeah.
No. I really know what it is, though. Sorry, I have to say this. I know what Vince's thinking is. They have Sean Merriman signed to a contract, the former Chargers linebacker, and they also have Darren Young signed to a contract. They're trying to cut costs. Why not get rid of the football player and the gay guy and just go and get one that's both? That's one less contract that they have to pay.
I mean, you could do that. I mean, it's not the greatest business decision, but hey, if it saves money, you got to cut corners where you can.
Yeah, I from a business standpoint, it makes perfect sense, and I would be surprised if Darren Young didn't return at this point. If you haven't seen pictures, I don't know if you guys, I know Alec has. I don't know if you saw the picture of Darren Young. Yeah, he's freaking jacked up now. He's got a beard going on. He's got, you know what? I never liked the guy. Every time he came on, I always felt he's super stiff. Not as far as he's not afraid to get hit or stuff like that. He's stiff like a board.
Of course he's stiff. He's in a ring full of dudes.
Oh no. Oh, and we are going. And here comes the hate.
Oh my lord!
We're gonna get you. Don't be a baby, darn bullshit. Whatever. Listen.
Hey, listen. I'm all in support of gay people. I honestly am. I have no issues whatsoever.
Yeah, everybody here at Rope Break is completely open-minded. But seriously, though, I think he'll come back. He's passionate about it, though. He loves the business, and he really wants to do good. So hopefully they can give him something. Hopefully he gets better. And I definitely wouldn't mind seeing him do something. He's definitely not he wants to be a main eventer. That's not going to happen, in my opinion. So give him the U.S. title, even maybe Intercontinental at some point. But I would like to see them do something with Darren Young.
Yeah, they got to give him something, though, because when last time he was around, his whole gimmick screamed new era generation to me. Cheesy, over the top, didn't seem real, didn't like it at all. The pick in the hair, the whole thing was terrible. I wasn't on board at all. Titus O'Neil I always liked from day one, even though he was always a little bit over the top as well. Darren Young, aside from the fact that he's basically the Black John Cena, I never really cared for him that much, to be honest with you.
Definitely agree there. So we'll see what happens with Darren Young if and when he decides to come back. Joseph Warren weighing in, but let's face it, nobody's going to go away from Monday Night Football. You do make a solid point. So we will see what happens. There won't be a huge rating spike if Michael Sam accepts the invitation, but if he does, there may be a slight rating spike. Then after that, you kind of had Paul Heyman come out, and he cut that strong promo about Cena not being able to win at Night of Champions. Nothing really to complain about there. It's Paul Heyman. Always cuts a great promo. I don't know if you guys have anything to add to that.
I don't. I mean, that's really all you need to say.
Yeah,
Paul Heyman, great promo. You know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, nothing new here.
Yep. I'm with you on that one. Heyman being Heyman, doing an awesome job, pretty much being the highlight of the show. That's pretty much it.
Then you had that match there with Jack Swagger, Zeb Coulter's return with Curtis Axel. I know we kind of touched on it. Didn't care for it. I've stated numerous times in the past, Don't care for Bo Dallas. Still don't care for Bo Dallas. Matt is a bona fide believer. I don't know what to say to you, but
Michael Sam is a boner fide believer.
Ozzy is dropping bombs here left and right. We are gonna get death threats soon.
Son of a bitch.
I mean, Matt,
Oh,
do you want to make your interjection in defense of Bo Dallas, or should we just move on? I know you kind of got into it with that son of a bitch Tyson Carneth. Fuck you.
You son of a bitch.
Anything you choose to add about Bo, or can we just move on from that fucking slop?
I have to defend him because you're calling him a slob.
He is a fucking slop.
Bastard. I like
so
Bo Dallas.
bad.
I love his gimmick. You just shut your mouth, let me talk. I like Bo Dallas still. I enjoy the gimmick, but the shit he did tonight fucking sucked. I can't deny that. I didn't care for the three dudes sitting out front, the three people
There was
in
a
the chairs.
chick.
This was Angela. And
She didn't know
who gives a
what the
shit?
fuck she was doing.
I did like the little thing that he said. I know probably people like who gives a shit that he said this to me. I thought it was kind of funny. Say hello to Angelo. I just thought the way he said that was fucking hilarious. It was so stupid.
It's always
It was so-
stupid. It's always stupid.
That's why I love it because it's so stupid.
I
And
can't.
he
I can't.
I know it, but I fucking love it. That segment blew. I like how he cost him the match, though. I think that's helping him more out as a heel. I really enjoyed that aspect. That he threw in the towel, and the ref's like, what the fuck, where'd this towel come from? And then he pulls him out, and Rusev. But the only thing I gotta say, which didn't make sense, is Rusev had him in a chokehold, right? Just want to be clear on that. Rusev had Swagger and some kind of choke.
I don't
So
know.
it's-
I don't watch SmackDown, unfortunately.
Well, they showed the replay, I believe.
Well, like I said, it was
Whatever,
during
boy.
a match I didn't give a shit about.
Whenever
Well, anyway,
SmackDown
he had a
highlights
fucking-
come on, your brain just tunes out immediately. Like you see the blue signature come across the board, and you hear Michael Cole go, "Last week on SmackDown," suddenly you're like, "Ooh, a fly! There's a fly in my room."
Exactly. They're like, oh shit, I want the phone book is sounding quite nice. Let me go read that.
I need to do the dishes.
I've been wanting to paint my room. No, but I thought that Rusev had him in a chokehold, so Bo Dallas going over and sweeping Swagger's legs out really didn't do much to, he was already choking him out. It just helped him set up the accolade a little bit quicker, so it didn't really do much. But other than that, I thought that was cool. They did that, but for the segment they had on Raw just wasn't good. It was just kind of boring. But I still believe.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was the weekly defense of Bo Dallas from here at Rope Break.
A pitiful one, I might add.
I mean, after that, we had Slater Gator versus Adam Rose, one of the many bathroom break matches of the night. Jesus Christ, what? Oh my God, fucking who put that on the show? Honestly. Then you had Rusev versus Ryder. What are you interjecting here?
I'm just curious. Did he say? I missed part of that match. So, did he say Slater Gator?
Yeah.
Is that like a new nickname?
That's what they're calling the tag team. That's what Heath Slater and Titus O'Neil are. They're Slater Gator. That's their tag team name. Where the fuck have you been?
I taken a piss break and I came in halfway through when the bunny was beating the shit out of him, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
It was awful. I hate it.
When you go and take a piss and come back to it doing a bunny suit beating the shit out of a mid Carter, you know they get rock
Oh
bottom.
my God, dude! Don't even keep bringing up that bunny suit. Holy shit! I wanted to.
I pointed out to Matt that that bunny suit reminds me of WWE in the early '90s when they had all those cartoon-like gimmicks. That's exactly what it is. And
I said that.
It's not funny. It's not cool. Like, oh, he's got a bunny and you got JBL. Get that bunny out of there. Shut your fucking mouth. God, sometimes
Yeah.
I just wish JBL would not commentate. I don't know.
Well, Michael Cole tried to sell the bunny attacking Heath Slater, which is already outrageous because a bunny should not be attacking anybody on the roster, including Rosa Mendez. Like, are you trying to like? I mean, no matter what Heath Slater does from now on, if Heath Slater became a 10-time WWE champion, you'd always be able to say, well, at one time he got beat up by a fucking bunny. Like, sorry,
Well,
dude,
no.
your whole career is delegitimized from this point on.
Well, they would try it to erase it from their continuity, like they've done with Chris Benoit and Phil Brooks.
yeah,
Who?
yeah, but
Who?
Who? Yeah,
which
exactly.
reminds me, quick point to note. WWE came out with a list. WWE.com came out with a list of the top 25 greatest Intercontinental Champions of all time. Chris Benoit was not on the list.
Of
What a
course
waste. And one more interjection about the bunny thing. I posted on our Twitter account. That shit reminds me of the gobbledygooker. We don't need fucking animals, people in animal costumes on the show. It's
no.
fucking stupid.
I definitely agree.
I'd rather see a woman giving birth to a child than somebody dressed in an animal costume on the show. And that is not an exaggeration.
And that's the show. No. Ryan Burrow weighing in. Like you guys said, the little things really stand out to some people. Some things that Dallas here at Gold and make it pop like, hey, buddy, and you get back on that horse. And appears there's a fellow Bo Dallas supporter. Matt, you have a friend. Anyway, you have Rusev versus Ryder next. Another boring match. I don't see why. What is the point of keeping Ryder on a contract? Just to have him come out and job, and then you have Mark Henry come out and proclaim that he's opened an international wing in the Hall of Pain, and Rusev is going to be the first inductee. Mark, we don't give a shit.
Just a poorly done segment too, because
Like we pointed out earlier, it's not entertaining. Nobody wants to see it. It doesn't legitimize Rusev because Mark Henry puts you over. Mark Henry hasn't really done anything relevant in the past, 5 years of his career or so, even before that.
Yeah.
Well, there was that one time where he and Mae Young had a hand for a child.
I mean, the most exciting thing I've seen out of Mark Henry was his fake retirement speech, but
Yeah, exactly.
other than that,
Yeah,
what is
Rock
Mark Henry?
involved with that.
Other than that, I don't know. I don't know if you guys have anything to interject there about that segment.
No, on to the next one.
Nothing from me. It's a quick interjection. I just wanted to say, going to what you're saying about Heath Slater, Mark Henry fucking wins heavyweight championships and shit, and all you can remember is he fucking had a hand with Mae Young. Like, that's what
because
everybody
he's not.
Remember that time? Just stop.
It's just those segments.
Just
stick out more
stop,
because his reigns are not. Why are we gonna remember them? They're not relevant. Exactly. So they put the title on him, and it's really nothing important. It's like, hey, we're like the heavyweight title was for so long. It was just a placeholder. That's all it was.
I agree. My quick interjection to this thing, and it's not even a. Oh, all right, fine.
My quick interjection to your quick interjection is, yeah, Mark Henry might have won the World Heavyweight Championship, but he had a black British Bulldog haircut when he did it, so it doesn't matter to me. Dude looked like a poodle.
No, I'm not. I don't even give a shit right now about his title reigns. All I was gonna say was they haven't brought up the Hall of Pain concept in a long time now. All of a sudden they're bringing it back up. It wasn't really relevant. It fucking failed from the start. It never caught on. People were like, yeah, Hall of Pain, and then they're like, yeah, who gives a shit? And then now they're bringing it up again like it's relevant. That's all I was gonna say.
Fair enough. Then we had the Stephanie McMahon announcement, which we kind of touched on already about the Divas, and then they announced Wyatt versus Chris Jericho in a steel cage. Definitely going to be interesting to see that next week. It looks promising, even though the steel cage matches in the past few months have not been as great as they should have been. You guys have any thoughts on that?
There hasn't been a good cage match since Daniel Bryan broke away from the Wyatt family, in my
Yep.
opinion. Um, I think that this is. I know a lot of people are excited just for the match itself. Wrestling purists will be excited. Jericho, Wyatt, Cage sounds pretty good on paper. I think it's pointless. I think they need to move along now. We already had the two matches necessary in this feud. Move along with this feud. Same way they did Cena and Wyatt, where they had them two battling it out on Raw weeks after their pay-per-view feud was already over. Just doesn't make any sense. I don't think we're going to see Jericho versus Wyatt at Night of Champions. It looks like they might be setting up Jericho versus Randy Orton. Um, I just don't understand the concept. Like, oh, these guys were just fighting at SummerSlam. Let's fucking throw them in there again. It's like, well, we just saw this
Yep.
fucking 10 times. Just because there's going to be a fucking steel cage around him doesn't change anything to me. And Jericho's on his way out. I think it's a waste. You could use him somewhere else.
I definitely agree with you there. Matt, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I agree with you. It definitely looks interesting on paper, and like I said to Alex, next week's Raw looks promising. I say looks promising because we all know how on paper it looks nice, and we get into Raw and we get fucking bunnies beating up Heath Slater. Yep, I did that again just for you. Just for you there, Cupcake, because I know how much you love when I mention
Oh
Slater
yeah, you gotta bring up
and the bunny rabbit.
God.
I
Yeah.
gotta keep bringing it up. Alright, anyway. It looks okay, and I completely agree with you, though. I mean, move on. We haven't seen...
And Brock Lesnar is making an appearance on React After Raw.
If you haven't watched the show, I love doing that to Matt every once in a while. He really sells the hell out of Brock Lesnar action figure right there. He'll just be giving a random comment, and all of a sudden,
A random quick interjection.
and then this just comes up.
Oh shit.
Micah Mania, this could have been yours on the last giveaway, but you didn't give us your address, you stupid motherfucker. Anyways.
Whoa. Easy there. He's 12 years old. His mom's not going to let him watch anymore.
Listen, I made it clear I don't discriminate, whether it be age, sex, sexual preference. I don't discriminate, period, unless your name's Rosa Mendez.
Then we don't like you.
Anyways, I very rudely interrupted you, Matt. Actually, it wasn't me. It was Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, that son of a bitch. Yeah, that was rude. Kind of hurt a little bit. No, I was just gonna say I agree with you. They need to move on from it. We haven't really seen Bray Wyatt really do anything relevant, and I hate. Oh my God, I hate that Rowan and Harper are doing their own thing now. It literally is destroying this whole family. They keep calling them the Wyatt family, but there hasn't been a family in months.
They're not ready.
And having them their own. Exactly. They have their own theme song now. They have their own entrance. They're completely separated from Bray. We rarely see them together anymore. And Bray hasn't really done anything relevant since SummerSlam. So it's like now you're going to throw him into a boring match with Jericho again. It's probably going to be a good match, but I mean, we've seen it already, like you said. And it's like, keep building Bray to something else. Give him someone else. But I think they don't know what to do with him anymore. They want to build him because he's talented, but they don't know what to do. I just feel like they're really. I'm just scared they're going to drop the ball with the Wyatt family.
It's definitely possible. Definitely possible. Ryan Burrow weighing in on YouTube would love to join in on a react with you guys soon. I mean, obviously, you guys don't know by now, and if you are new to watching the show, you can always join us here by tweeting us at Rope Break Wrestling and saying, hey, I want to be on the show. I guess nobody wanted to be on the show today because they were scared because Raw was shitty. We could have chewed them up and spit them out, as I have said before.
Similar to how we did with Raw. We chewed that shit up and spit it out.
Yeah. And then you had that Uso versus Goldust match, which I don't even know if it turned into a tag team match. I wasn't really paying attention. The only really interesting part of that match was the finish where you had Cody go in and, bust up the knee with the chair. And I know I mentioned that it would be interesting to see them get rid of the makeup and just wrestle as Dustin and Cody
I
Rhodes
agree.
because really, I can't take them seriously as a heel tag team in the makeup, in the jumpsuits. It just doesn't work for me, especially with Cody because we know he's Cody, not Stardust.
Yeah.
And although I know Matt's pointed out that it might not work for Goldust, but because no one really knows him as Dustin Rhodes unless you've watched, WCW from back in the day. But I think as a heel tag team, it works a lot better if they weren't in the makeup, in the jumpsuits, and they were out and saying, hey, we don't get taken seriously. We had to put on all this crap just to be taken seriously as talent. And I think it could transition into something decent if they go that route. I don't know what you guys have to add to that.
I just think it's, they again dropped the ball big time. You guys remember where this was 1 year ago? We were talking about Cody Rhodes trying to get his job back, Goldust making his return. Great feud with the Authority when the Authority was a very fresh entity, and suddenly you flash forward a year, Cody Rhodes, who at that point had two awesome feuds, one with Damian Sandow, and then his with the Authority and Randy Orton, had an awesome match on Raw with Randy Orton, I
Hmm.
remember. And now, flash forward a year, the guy's coming out tiptoeing backwards and does some weird shit where he goes up to like the Titantron and like feels it up. Like, oh my god, it makes my brain want to explode. Like,
Oh, definitely. It's
this is
just
he's
garbage.
he's been one of our favorites for a while. We know he's got a lot of potential. I know he wasn't always the best on the mic, but one thing that he you can always attest to for Cody Rhodes, he's always been authentic.
Definitely.
His mic work has always felt real. That feud that he had with the Authority, it all felt real. I remember, and I haven't felt that way since the NWO. That sounds stupid, but I remember like that at the beginning, that storyline kind of felt almost real. Like, Cody Rhodes, what's going on? Like then we found out he was getting married, but you know, it was an awesome feud. And he even brought in, like you said, Alec, you said about the whole face paint shit. I remember Cody mentioning that the Rhodeses were the laughing stock of the
Yep.
WWE. They brought his dad in and put polka dots on him. They brought Goldust in and made him do all that shit where he's you know basically gay. Like throwing himself out there on the show in the early '90s when times weren't as I guess forgiving as they are now. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Now it's 2014. That's something that we kind of come to expect. Back then, not so much. Not a lot of people were really turned on by that whole gold dust thing. I don't know. I think you're 110% right, Alec. They could go that way with this. They could say, we've been getting effed over since we've gotten here. And it could be something interesting, but they're dropping the ball on it like they are with a lot of stuff. This seems to be their really, really downside of the year every year. Right after SummerSlam,
Mm.
things get really shitty until we're almost approaching Royal Rumble, and it shouldn't be that way.
No, it should be consistent product, every week and every pay-per-view throughout the year. Matt, you want to add anything to what Ozzy has said?
Yeah, well, obviously, if you've watched React before, you know how I feel about Stardust. I feel the same way. Like Alex said, we know it's Cody, and I said this plenty of times. It's easier. Obviously, not many people know Goldust as Dustin. Um, so when you see Goldust, you see Goldust. When you see Stardust, you see Cody Rhodes with makeup. So you don't get that. It's not real. Um, so I think it could be beneficial to have them come out as Dustin and Cody. But like I said, I think it would be difficult um, for. I think it could work because Dustin has appeared before. I think it was 2 years ago when they were working the whole when Cody Rhodes was a heel. and they were working he was ashamed of his family angle. I think he appeared on Raw
Yeah.
Live as Dustin, so I think that in itself might help lead to making that work. I think that's definitely a better concept than what they're going with right now. It's just not entertaining every time he comes out. I mean, I see Goldust and I think, oh, awesome, and then I see Stardust and it just doesn't compare. And it really, really takes away from any and everything that they do right now within this angle. But as far as the match goes, you know, it wasn't a horrible match. Like I said, all four of these guys are talented wrestlers, so it wasn't a terrible match. But this whole concept, this whole gimmick, this whole storyline takes away from it. I did like the finish. I agree with you. I like the aggressiveness in the finish. And I really liked, who was it which one has the injured knee? I don't even remember. Is it Jay or Jimmy?
I'm pretty sure it's Jay. Could be wrong.
Is it Jay?
Might be.
Well, whatever one has,
wasn't really paying attention.
whatever one has the injured knee, I really liked the way he sold that, getting hit in the knee. I thought he did a great job at selling the knee injury. But other than that, I thought that was like the highlight. But I'm still, no matter where this goes right now, I don't care if they become a tag team champions. The storyline in and of itself is taking away from everything that they're going to be doing, in my opinion.
In a quick note, too, the reason I think that Goldust turning into Dustin would work better than the way Cody has turned into Stardust is the fact that even though we know Goldust and he's a really established character, at this point we don't know anything else. Everybody knows that underneath the face paint there's a regular dude there.
Yep.
So yeah, right now we're not saying, oh, that's Dustin Runnels underneath the face paint every day. Like, you're right, Matt, because we are for Cody. Every time Cody comes out, you're saying it's Cody Rhodes in face paint.
Yep.
You're saying, I can't believe they're doing this to Cody. I can't believe what the fuck what's he thinking? But I think at the end of it, if Goldust took his face paint off and gave that whole angle of, I never wanted to do this, they made me, blah, 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 I think that would work much better than what they're doing with Cody now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Well, and then that brings us back to the main event, and you've already heard our thoughts on that. And as we bring the show to a close here, I'd like to get your guys' final thoughts on Raw, your letter grade, anything else you want to add. Matt, let's start with you.
Oh boy. I thought from start to finish. Okay, I should say from Cena entering onto television to finish, the show absolutely sucked. I think the Paul Heyman segment and the opening segment were the two only segments that were actually interesting or really did anything for anybody. So with that being said, man, giving a letter grade, it's hard. I have to give it. Man, I thought, as far as fluidity in in match placement on the card, it was 10 times better than last week. I thought where they placed certain matches, where they placed certain segments was far better and had a way better continuity than it did last week. I thought last week was jumbled. You got like 3 matches in a row, then 3 promos, and it just was really, this was, I thought, broken up way better. But, even with that being said, the show itself still sucked. So I think I'll probably have to go and give it a solid D. And that's only because the fluidity of the match placement was better than last week, in my opinion. And Aussie just wrote something on paper, and he's got the look in his eyes. So,
all right.
We're going to go over to Aussie.
Turn it over to Aussie here and let him give his final thoughts on Monday Night Raw.
It's important to note that I agree with Matt. The fluidity was there as opposed to past weeks. But there is no denying this is a 3-hour show, and you cannot have somebody, whether it be somebody that's informed like Matt, or just a regular Joe off the street that's watching for the first time. You cannot have somebody pick out just 2 segments out of a 3-hour show. Those 2 segments probably added up for a half an hour of a 3-hour show. That's a fail. That's an F. The only way I think of it, and I'm usually not this critical. If anybody's watched the show before, I'm usually in defense of the show, but I just think of it this way: if this was a test, if you were watching for the first time, if I was a first-time viewer and I watched this episode of Raw and said, if I like it, I'll continue to watch. If I don't, I won't. I wouldn't ever watch again. Which constitutes as a fail to me, and it's an F. And that follows it up. To follow that up, I'd like to say, WWE, I have a solution to this. Hire me to get the F out. All right? In the early 2000s, WWE ran the whole Get the F Out campaign when they went from WWF to WWE. Well, now you've got a huge F again. And it's the entire writing and creative team. I give them a F. Terrible. And I can only see it getting worse in the coming weeks. There's no signs of this showing or moving up from here. Seems like every single year, like I said, every single year. This is the time of the year. It's like the fucking Great Depression. Terrible. Terrible product. And then they're wondering why people aren't buying the network. Why, why aren't people watching? You got Monday Night Football, and you got all sorts of other shit coming up. You gotta fucking compete. Otherwise, there's no reason for us to watch the show, honestly. So yeah, it's an F for me. And it looks like it could be that way next week, too, if they don't step this shit up.
Definitely some strong opinion from the panel.
Yep,
you are interjecting on the fucking show again. All right, I'll let you talk. I'm sorry.
I really appreciate that. That's mighty nice of you. I just wanted to say that. See, got me off flustered. Now I forgot what the fuck I was gonna say. God damn it.
You were weren't you going to say?
Got aggressive.
I was going to say you were going to probably tell everybody that's still watching into the wee hours of the morning about the whole Friends thing, because obviously they're watching, but if all their friends aren't, then yeah,
you're right. That's exactly what I was going to say. Thank you for jogging my memory. I really appreciate that. Listen, guys, we appreciate you viewing the show, but if you're not telling your friends about Rope Break, you're not inviting them into the Rope Break lifestyle, then you are a terrible friend. And there is no other words about that. There's no other way to put it.
That's plain and simple. Ryan Barilla kind of giving his final thoughts here. And Raw is supposed to be the best out of their shows because the others are usually crap. Well, I mean, everything, except for really NXT is crap. So we are reaching the end of our show here. A lot of big things always in the works here at Rope Break. I'd like to give you guys the floor just for a couple more minutes to kind of promote your shows before the bell and the sharpshoot. So whoever wants to take it away, go for it.
I'll go first so Matt can have the final word, because I'm pretty excited on his upcoming show before the bell. So I'll just quickly say, if you guys haven't checked out my new show, The Sharpshoot with Aussie, then you too get an F as your grade for life the past couple weeks. This week, the show was so good that WWE thought their ratings were going to be better than Raw and SmackDown, so they decided to shut the show down. It's back up finally. Last Thursday's Lost episode is up on our YouTube page. You're already here watching this on YouTube. Why not just take the extra 20 minutes to watch Thursday's episode of The Sharpshoot with Aussie? It's going to be every single Wednesday or Thursday. It's going to kind of alternate based on when I'm available to do it. And This week we'll be debuting the mailbag segment on the show. So you guys, if you have any questions that you want to get answered on that show, want to get your voice heard, you can send us a question via tweet at Rope Break Wrestling. You can send it also to me at I am Aussie. And then you can also email me, aussie@ropebreakwrestling.com. And the cool thing I want to point out, if you guys have any of those cool video, what's that fucking thing that WWE used where you can, send videos of yourself, like brief videos of yourself?
Is it Tout? I think it is.
Tout. You can tout. Send me a tout or some shit. I don't have an account on there, but email me or send us the link to you touting, and I'll put your face up on the show, and you can become famous. I know somewhere out there, Jose Paulino is already preparing 10, 12, 14 touts for the show. But yeah, it's the Sharpshoot with Aussie every Wednesday and or Thursday on RopeBreakWrestling.com and right here on our YouTube page. Matthew.
Your turn to talk about Before the Bell. We are all waiting for. I know you're working hard to make it absolutely perfect. So tell these people what they can expect on your show Before the Bell.
Well, you're absolutely right. I am working really hard to make this an awesome show. I've been plugging it all week. We had some technical difficulties, but we're getting those under control, and it's going to air this Friday. Now I know exactly what you guys are thinking. What in the hell is Before the Bell? All right, guys, this is like something we have never done before on RopeBreakWrestling.com. This is a podcast that is just for you guys. So all you have to do is sit back, relax, throw on a pair of headphones, and let me handle everything else. That is Before the Bell. It's me shooting on topics in WWE, taking the most recent rumors, and also taking questions, and just talking all things WWE. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no structure. It's just me talking to you guys about the WWE.
Yeah, and the important thing to note, too, like you said, Matt, you can just throw on a pair of headphones and go. That's the cool thing about Matt's show, is it's going to be an audio-based show. So if your mom's making you clean the house or do dishes or some bullshit, she's burying you, throw on your headphones and turn on the podcast. You don't have to worry about watching it anytime. I'm pretty pumped up for this show. I don't know about you, Alec.
I'm always pumped up. I know Matt and I always have great conversations, not only about wrestling, but everything in general. It's going to be really exciting to see what Matt comes up with for Before the Bell.
Well, I really appreciate that, and I'm excited to do it. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time now. I've wanted to host my own show. This is a concept that I've been brewing for a while, so I really hope that you guys enjoy it.
Oh, I don't think there's any question that it will be enjoyed by the masses. Similar to the way, Alec, you became the host of this show, bro. The React After Raw show has become a beast under the guidance of Alec. We went almost double overtime here tonight. We pushed the limits here. We gave the people what they needed. We still have viewers this late. That's a testament to the skills and talents of the host of this show, Alec Kozubski.
Thank you. We are always trying to give you the best experience possible, not like when you're sitting in the bleachers or you're at cage side. We're always trying to cater the fans. Like we have said before, we are for the fans, by the fans. That's what we do here at Rope Break Wrestling. You heard it here from the panel. The Sharpshoot with Aussie will be on Wednesdays or Thursdays. Definitely a very entertaining show to sit down and watch. If you've got 20 minutes, half hour, spare time, just sit down, watch it, have a good laugh. Before the Bell, debuting on Friday. Definitely going to be one hell of a show to listen to. And you can always catch React After Raw here on YouTube immediately following Monday Night Raw. Every Monday night. Always go. We got Facebook, we got Twitter, we got YouTube. We are everywhere, people. Everywhere. We are taking over the Rope Break revolution. I mean, anything else? Or are we done for the night?
Believe that.
There you go. Believe that, people. Believe that.
Believe that.
Oh my
Oh.
God.
No, I'm just
What
kidding.
a waste. But seriously, in true fashion,
What a waste.
if you ain't down with that, we got 2 words for you.
Rope break.
Rope break.
Rope break.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for everyone here at Rope Break Wrestling. I'm Alec. That's Aussie. That's Matt. Thank you for sticking with us tonight, and we will see you back here next Monday. Good night, everybody.